Hi, I'm Lisa Birnbach for Howdini. If you've been with the same person for a long time, odds are your sex life could use a little spicing up. But how do you broach that subject with your partner without hurting feelings? Rachel Sussman is a couples therapist who is here to help us with this particular minefield. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Lisa.
What do you do?
You have to communicate. Generally one person in the couple decides that there's something wrong with the sex life, or it's a little humdrum, and you're thinking about it, maybe obsessing about it, getting upset about it. You've got to talk to your partner, and you've got to sit down in just a really nice, open, gentle way and say, hey, something's going a little off track here. How can we work together as a team, get it back on track?
Do you recommend wine, French maid's outfit? I mean, doing something really sexual to have this conversation?
Well, the French maid's outfit can't hurt. But I think, you have this conversation, and sure, make it fun. Talk to your partner about what can you do to spice up your sex life. And let's face it, variety is the spice of life. Also, we're in a society where people replace their cars every couple of years. I mean, we're used to having new and exciting. And if you want your marriage to work out and your long-term relationship to work out, sex is a very important ingredient. And you really need to just talk to your partner about what kind of fun things can you add to the relationship to get it back on track.
What if your partner really does suggest something that is unthinkable to you, or makes you think that maybe I don't really know him as well as I thought I did?
When it comes to sex, a lot of us have some secret fantasies. And I think couples who can communicate and really talk about their fantasies are the ones that have the best options available to them, and they really could have a great sex life. But if your partner recommends something to you that really is shocking to you, oftentimes our first reaction is, no way, I'm never going to do this. And what I recommend is sit with it for a little bit, think about it, and then you can go back to your partner and ask them, what is it about this fantasy, or what is this about what you'd like me to do that really turns you on? Talk about it.
Let's say you're married, your sex life is unsatisfying, and you have an idea of a fantasy that you might like to experiment with your husband, I mean. How do you get the courage to tell him?
Well, listen, I think that you have to find the courage to tell him. And I think you can practice, and you can, talk it through to yourself. And then maybe sit down with your husband, call a meeting, and go out for a nice quiet dinner and say, we've been talking about reviving our sex life and different ways in which we can do this. And, I have an idea to do something that might be fun. Would you be open to hearing my idea? And then, let it rip.
I guess there's no harm in saying, would you be open to hearing it? And if he says, I don't want to hear it, that tells you something too.
If he says, I don't want to hear it, it certainly does tell you something. And then you have to have patience and say, well, why don't you want to hear it? Is there something about this that seems threatening or scary to you? Is there a way that I can help you overcome that? Is there a way that together we can work on spicing up our sex life?
How out of the ordinary should you allow yourself to go?
Well, dare to dream. Variety is the spice of life. Have some fun with your partner. If you're finding that you really can't get the words out and you really can't talk to your partner about sex, or you're trying to and they're not listening, that's a great time to call in a relationship expert or a marriage counselor.
And it's not irreparable. That's the bottom line.
It's not irreparable, and what a counselor can often help a couple do is find the words and create a safe space so these feelings and thoughts, can be articulated in a way that could really, do some good to the marriage.
Now also, logistically, you have kids, you have a job, you have a busy life. How do you really, as a couple, make time in your lives for sex without losing the romance?
Well, I think it is important to schedule a sex date. And the research shows that when couples do it, it is very effective. And people are always scared, oh, that's not going to seem spontaneous enough. But you know what? There's not a lot of time often for spontaneity in busy lives. So you really have to plan a date night and go and do something really fun, and just make sure that the evening ends with having sex. Or begins with having sex.
Thanks, Rachel.
Thanks, Lisa.
For Howdini, I'm Lisa Birnbach.